Hey everyone, Uncle Creepy here for Dread Central, and today we have a very special guest. You may know him as Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Mr. Ken Sagoes. Ken, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. And it's not just three. There's three and
3 and 4, that's right.
4. You know, I made history there.
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't want to mention 4, because, Freddie kind of got you in that one.
Yeah, he did.
So I didn't want to bring up any bad memories, man.
No bad memories, no bad memories. He got me well. But I got his ass in 3.
You did. You definitely did. Let's talk about 3 for a little bit. How did you get involved in the project?
Actuality, it was like I tell people I had not seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And when my agent called me about it, I didn't want to go, so he convinced me to go. And so I had a major attitude. It was raining. A car was broke down, so I had to catch the bus. So I had got to a point where I could just go in there and get back out and catch the bus. So I had a major attitude. So I went in there, and they was running late. So when they finally saw me, Chuck Russell said, just be yourself. And that was it. He said, well, that's the attitude I want for Kincaid. And so that's actually how I got it.
Wow. So you went in completely blind. You weren't acquainted with Fred. I mean, had you heard of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
I had not heard of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies because I wasn't a big fan. I was a big fan of the old horror films.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I had heard about it, but it was no big thing. When they called me about Nightmare on Elm Street, it was new to me. I remember it was new. I remember a friend telling me that was a big thing, the Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that 1 and 2, she loved the 1, and that's what she was telling me about. I didn't actually see Nightmare on Elm Street until after my first audition.
Okay, so what'd you think of the movies once you saw them?
I liked it. It reminded me of the old, it was scary, and it reminded me of the old horror films, which is what I like.
Yeah, and now, so many, how long has it been? Many years, huh? Since
last year was actually our 20th anniversary.
Man.
Nightmare 3 for the Dream Warriors. So the end of the Dream Warriors is this year.
Wow.
Actually, Rodney Eastman was the last one to be killed, I believe. So he was the last original Dream Warrior to be killed.
21 years, man.
21 years.
2 decades.
Yeah, I was 20 plus then, and I'm 20 plus now.
Well, who said this was okay to get old? That's what I want to know. Do we miss that meeting? Because I look back at it, and I could swear I literally remember, I'm only 35. I say only because it makes me feel better. But anyway, I'm only 35. Right? And I remember going to see Dream Warriors in the theater, and it just seems like yesterday, man.
The thing about that movie is that, today, when young people watch the movie today, is that it's like a brand new movie for them.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine's neighbor, had a Nightmare on Elm Street party in October. And so as a surprise, because he was 17 years old, and he had about 20-something people in his house. They had a big screen TV, and she surprised them. And, at the end of the movie, I walked in. And it was like they was watching it. It's a movie that came out today. It wasn't bootleg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. No, it stands. Well, plus you also had Wes Craven's involvement again after not doing 2, and there's a lot of things about Elm Street 3 that makes it one of the absolute fan favorites of the franchise.
Yeah. I think it had everything in it. It had something for everybody. I think I represented the minority. I brought in the heavy minority group, And
plus you whipped some ass back in the day, too.
Not just whipping. I was talking a lot of shit, too.
No, you're definitely right. I mean, it's just one of those movies that's magic. Now, you've been doing the convention circuit, or you're just starting to?
I've done. I just started. My first time doing the convention was last year, I believe, and I've done 3, and so I think my 4th one would be the one that's coming up in Dallas.
Yeah, that's our show, Fear Fest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Fear Fest.
But thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, it must be kind of amazing. I mean, I can only imagine what this must feel like when you get out there and it's, 2 decades removed and you find out there's all sorts of love for you and for this character. What's that like?
I can't really explain it, but you want to know something that was, I guess, the greatest compliment is that, right after I did Nightmare Part 4, I pick up the phone one day and this operator that's saying, is this Ken Sagoes? And I say yes. Then I hear somebody else saying, this is Ken Sagoes. And the other operator say, I don't understand at all. And then it goes on. What it turned out is that from Japan, it was some dignitary's son. And for his birthday, he wanted Kincaid to say happy birthday to him.
You got to be kidding me.
So all the way from Japan, they had contacted my agent. They had set up a meeting for me to say happy birthday. And I remember saying, what happy birthday? And the operator said, happy birthday. And then he said, I just know. And then it went on. And I understand they had a Kincaid fan club in Taiwan.
Really?
In there, but it was a Kincaid fan club.
Wow, that's cool. Now, you've been involved in some really wonderful causes lately, and you got one coming up, right?
Yeah, what I did is 10 years ago, I started an organization called Giving Back. And so what I'm doing this year is that I'm going to walk in the Los Angeles Marathon to raise money for college-bound kids. When they go to college, a lot of times our inner-city kids, they get to college, but they end up dropping out because they can't afford books. So I'm walking to raise money for them, and I'm asking that if, all the horror fans, if they would support me by, sending in just $1 per dollar, and if they pledge of 25 cents per mile, which would be $6.50, I would personally send them a autograph postcard picture of me walking. If they do 50 cents per mile, I will send them an 8x10 color personal. Each one I'm going to sign personally. There ain't going to be no runoff. And if they choose to send $1 a mile, I will send them a T-shirt. And I'm going to name each mile after a horror villain. So and the last mile is going to be named after Freddy Krueger. So I got to walk through 25 villains to get to Freddy Krueger. And you can go to myspace.com official Kincaid, and you can make a donation, online, and all the money goes to the children, because I think the greatest nightmare is a child on any street that cannot have the tools to get an education.
Amen.
And so I plead with you, help me support this cause, because last year I was unable to support the many young people who asked me would I help them buy a book. So that is, if you go to my myspace.com, official Kincaid, all the information is there. And $1, just $1, if you could just send $1, it would be great.
No, and that's a wonderful cause. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions about horror fans, like a lot of people out there, when it comes to either fans or stars of the genre, we always get kind of labeled, that we don't have, everyone thinks that we just wear black and we're spooky, but you know what, it's one of the most warm fan bases in the world. Yeah, and absolutely loyal.
I can say I had never done the convention circuit, and I had never felt so much love as to when I started doing the conventions and everything. So, as a matter of fact, it was when a couple of fans who I was signing something for at the last convention asked me, what do I do? And I explained to them about giving back, and she said, well, give us a chance to help you, Kincaid. I don't know. I remember her name. Her name. I remember it's Pat. If Pat is listening, I'm doing what you asked me to do.
So, Ken, thank you so much for stopping by and letting us know about this cause. And hey, man, fans out there going to the Dread Central show in Texas, Dread Central and Pit of Horror present Fear Fest 2. Make sure you stop by Ken and thank him for what he's doing for the community.
Thank you.
And Ken, again, thank you so much for stopping by, baby.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.